My name is Sofia Kayinska. I'm the acting director of Lviv Convention Bureau. I'm here in Lviv now, and in June we are launching our project Industry Talks During the War. We will talk to the experts of national and international exhibition industry, what is happening now, what we will do in the future. So stay tuned and watch our videos. Hello everyone, we are continuing our industry talks during the war, and today we will talk to Carina Bauer. She's the CEO of IMEX Group. So hello Carina.
Hi, lovely to see you.
Thank you one more time for this huge support of Ukraine. It was really important for Ukrainian MICE community to get the position of IMEX about Russian war in Ukraine. And IMEX Group also suspended Russian state enterprises from the participation in IMEX in Frankfurt, and supported Ukrainian organizations in taking part, including us, Lviv Convention Bureau. It really means a lot. We got a lot of emotions from the show. You, as an industry leader, were one of the first who made this strong statement. And of course, not everybody wanted to be clear and give their opinion on the things that are going on in Ukraine. And still a lot of companies stayed in Russia. So what is your view on the reaction to the war by MICE experts? How did the event community accept the war, and is it enough response to Russia invasion?
Well, they're big questions and difficult ones, of course. I think obviously for us, it was important for us as a business and personally to come out strongly as we did. And we felt very strongly about making that statement and about doing what was in our power to do, which was, as you say, to suspend the participation of Russian state enterprises in the show. And also after some time and speaking to you, being able to welcome those from Ukraine who could make it to the show and make sure that you were represented there. That was also important to us to be able to support you in that way. In terms of the wider community, I think I'm pleased now that after a little bit of time, I think all or most of the trade associations have come out in support of Ukraine and I think in most cases suspending participation of their Russian members or of their chapters, if you like, in Russia. I understood as well why it took some of them some time because, of course, they have members all over the world. And I know that some of them really struggled with how to position themselves. I think the community as a whole is overwhelmingly supportive of Ukraine and also of this broader sense that the Western institutions are at risk and understand that fundamentally. I think what was difficult, and probably still is in many cases, is that our industry has always been apolitical. And so it was difficult, I think, for some people to find themselves in a situation where they had to get involved in what was going on in a global political sense. I do think that in the end, the industry has come in the right place. I think the challenge now, though, challenge for all of us is to make sure that there's not fatigue of this, doesn't go down people's agenda and they think it's just a normal part of what they're living with. As we were discussing earlier, you're living with this every day and you have traveled, so it's very easy for people to forget things when the news doesn't have it as their top item anymore. So it will be our industry in the coming, say, 6 months.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you for your answer. The Russian war in Ukraine made a huge impact in all the spheres, as you said, like MICE was also political, and now they have to take the right side. or the side that they believe is right. And of course, the mice industry, not only in Ukraine, but all over the world, feel the consequences of Russian violence towards Ukrainians. And even right now, Poland suffers a lot too. We're talking to our Polish colleagues, and they also say that a lot of events are cancelled because Poland is a neighboring country to Ukraine and is really close. So how do you think the industry will handle these challenges?
I think it's important that as an industry, we have a really valuable role in the sense that we are a global industry, and we can take a role of really educating our clients and customers as to the reality of the situation on the ground, what is really happening in Ukraine, what is happening in the neighboring countries. And I think we can show solidarity in that way, but we can also show solidarity by continuing the events that we're running as a mice industry in these countries and also attending them. So ICA, for example, they had planned a year ago to have their annual conference in Poland in November. They're sticking with that, and I totally support them doing that. And I think we can support by attending and showing that support and showing that solidarity. And so I think that's really where we can make that impact, both through solidarity and also through education of our clients, because that's where we can play our part.
Yeah, you're also right. I'm just waiting for this Congress in Krakow. I'm really looking forward to it. So hopefully a lot of our colleagues will come and support as well.
Yes, absolutely. And I think it's important for us to come and see what it's like on the ground, because we can better explain to the corporations that we're speaking with every day, to the event agencies, what the situation really is. And we can also play our part in supporting those economies as well and bringing that investment in, which is obviously so critical at the moment.
Definitely. So right now, mice business in Ukraine is on hold, obviously. It's impossible to hold huge events or organize conferences because of the security issues. But still, event professionals, for example, in Lviv, try to find a way and to meet, to talk about the future in Ukraine. They organize finance, volunteer or humanitarian conferences in the shelters to be in touch with the partners and gather money for Ukraine armed forces. There were also some charitable conferences, and that was really great to see that people are so active. So what can you suggest to Ukraine's mice market to find more opportunities to save their business?
Yeah, I mean, it's so challenging, and I admire so much the resilience of the market and those businesses and those individuals to do what they're doing. I do think that by really recording what they're doing will serve them really well going forward, because I think what you're doing at the moment as an industry internally in Ukraine is really showing the power of what meetings and events can do in terms of bringing people together, raising needed funds, motivating people. And so I think that's really important to not forget that and make sure that that is really understood by the government when they have the capacity to look at that again. And it can also be used externally outside of Ukraine to really showcase the power of the industry. Also, I think, we know that the expertise coming out of Ukraine is very high in the industry. So obviously it depends on the business, but I do believe that there are a lot of opportunities for remote work as well. Companies right across Europe, right across the US are desperate really for freelancers at the moment. So I do think that if there are people within Ukraine who have the skills and knowledge and have the capacity and are able to work remotely, I do think that there are genuine opportunities to provide those services remotely at the moment. And then finally, I think, what you are doing as a convention bureau and as an industry to really continue to tell your story, to tell the world that you still exist, and that you're here for them when the business comes back. I think that I really admire you for doing that, and I think you're doing absolutely the right thing, not to hide away and hibernate in this time, but actually to do what you've been doing, traveling and talking about Ukraine and the fact that you're ready for events when they can come back, and I think that will stand you in good stead for the longer term.
Thank you. It's really good to hear that we are doing the right thing, because we were trying different ways of communicating with our industry, and right now we think that it's really important still to be heard, but not like, for example, because the news, people are not interested in details, of course, because it was like a long period that we were at the news. But of course, right now our focus is on telling that we are here, that our people are here, that we have this superpower of great experts within Ukraine, and that we are ready to share all this knowledge. Plus, we are inviting people to to get this knowledge when the right time comes. So thank you for one more statement that we are doing the right thing. So Russia's war is very unpredictable, and it did harm to so many families, companies. But you can see that Ukrainians will never give up, as we are not giving up on the mice. People fight for democratic values, for people die to restrain the Russian barbarians, their Russian world, to give their children a better future. We are trying to do this. Also, Ukraine stands for the whole world. Today, Ukrainian cities are bombed. Tomorrow, it can be Poland, it can be Baltic countries, hopefully not, because a lot of people from Ukraine are there. And it's not just the problem of only Ukraine. All the world has to be united, and we see that it is united. What else can the international mice industry do to resist this Russian influence? How can international organizations in the mice industry help Ukraine? We have the great example of the MPI Foundation that gathers money for Ukrainian students who study mice in Poland. What else can be done? Within our
I think it's a big question, of course. I think the example of the MPI Foundation is fantastic, and I think we can do more of that. I also, as we discussed before, making sure we have the opportunity to make sure that what is the truth on the ground in Ukraine is being told, that story is told amongst our community, but also with the clients that we serve, and I think the other side really is not to be fatigued by it. The sort of solidarity that the international community came out with in February and early March. To, for example, what we did and what some of the other associations did. I think we need to be clear that those policies, if you like, have to remain until such time as, hopefully the war is ended and Ukrainian is a sovereign country and can get back to rebuilding themselves. And I think that's really important. I think as well, we need to show that solidarity with our own governments who've put massive sanctions on Russia. Therefore, the other part of this is, we can't do business with those organizations whilst there are Western sanctions going on. And I think we need to be very clear about that too. So I guess what I'm saying is we need to stay the course. Ukrainians have no option but to stay the course. So I think we need to show that solidarity, also stay the course. It is not easy for any organization or any individual. We have friends and colleagues all over the world, but I think that's a really important thing to do. But then more practically, more organizations doing the type of thing that the MPI Foundation has done can actually bring direct help and impact to Ukrainian people and students. And so hopefully if we can do more of that, we can actually help your industry be in a better place when you come out of this, to build back quicker. And I think if we focus on things like that, and also listening to you guys, what do you need, and helping you to the best of our ability to do that.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Let's get back to IMEX. It's more than 1 month after IMEX in Frankfurt. I'm sure that you've summed up all the moments and can tell your impression as an organizer. So after 2 years, you finally made it. And a lot of work was to be done. So please tell us, how do you feel after exhibition? Are you satisfied? Did everything go according to your plan?
Yeah, I mean, we are very satisfied. As you say, it's over a month following the show. So we've had feedback directly from clients. We've had it through our surveys, and we can see that it was an enormously successful show for both the buyers and the exhibitors that were there. And I think what was really fantastic was seeing the industry, the international industry, come back together again and kind of restart that process of rebuilding. And there really was truly a lot of business there and being done on the show floor, which is obviously what it's about. But after 2 years of what we've all been through, and sort of a shutdown of the industry, it was really gratifying to see that take place. Did everything go according to plan? I'd say yes and no, in the sense that, the build up to a show like that, especially post-pandemic, restrictions in Germany only finished 6 weeks before the show, and we got very little notice of that. Obviously, we're dealing as well with the impact of the war in Ukraine, and so many different things as well. So nothing in a way was normal, and what I would say is what we've learned to do, I think, as organisers, but also more globally as an industry, is just become much more adaptable to things changing all of the time. So in the end, it went according to the final plan, but that final plan had many changes along the way, just because of those external circumstances.
Oh yeah, flexibility is our new normal.
Absolutely. And yes, and you're living that more than any of us can even imagine.
Yeah, true. This year it was a special edition of IMEX. You celebrated 20 years of the show, so congratulations. It's amazing how long you are in business and you have seen so much. What was your favorite and most memorable year?
Yeah, that's a difficult one. I think I have many memorable moments. Probably one of the most memorable years was the first, because I didn't know anything, and it's very vivid in my mind. It was so difficult and so extraordinary, really, doing that for the first time. But probably my favorite will be this past year, because it was so special. The atmosphere was so special to see people come back together. There were so many people there that we hadn't seen in those 3. Many people who have been out of their country or their region since pre-pandemic. And so it was very, very special to see the industry coming back together. That atmosphere, that first Imex America last November and the first Frankfurt, both of them had a very, very special, wonderful atmosphere that just showed the warmth of our industry in a way. People really genuinely happy to see each other. So I think that's probably got to be favourite so far.
That's nice. And do you remember any funny moment during the preparation of this year's IMEX? So some challenging moments were there, of course. What are the funny ones?
The funny moments, that's a great question. What were the funny moments? Gosh, there were, I mean, do you know, we always have fun. We always laugh through the good times and the difficult times. I think the funny moments, you know, come with the little questions and the little things that people send us. And what I always find amazing in our industry is people just really share, you know, poems with us about their excitement. They share songs. They really love the industry so much and love seeing people. So it's not funny; it's more sweet, I suppose. But those always stand out to me. Those sort of special messages that people send us, I suppose. But if anything truly hilarious comes to mind, I'll let you know.
It's really sweet, like the poems and some, you know, creative things, of course. Yes, that touches.
Yeah, absolutely.
IMEX 2022 had a lot of events. You prepared a rich and interesting program that includes so much useful information that, like, you know, we didn't visit all of the things, but we tried. And pleasant activities and networking. So there's also was a policy forum that brought together opinion makers to think how the industry can regenerate to the economy. So what is your impression after the policy forum? And did you discuss all the issues that that you planned? And what are the insights of this forum?
Yeah, I mean, so first of all, I would say that the key insights will be published quite soon, actually. So we're just working on a report that we'll publish in. I won't go into too much on those because that will come out quite shortly. What was interesting at the policy forum was that we had the largest number of ministers from different countries than we've ever had before. And my hope during the pandemic was that finally our industry might be recognised for what it is, which is a catalyst to drive growth and inward investment across all vertical sectors. And I think we saw during the pandemic how difficult that message is, and the fact that pre-pandemic we weren't recognised for that. But what gives me hope is that so many policymakers and government ministers did attend from around the world. And so sort of the instant impression, without going into each of the issues that was discussed, was really that we have a real opportunity right now to gain the value of our industry. And ministers they need every tool that they can get to increase their economic prosperity, and we are a fantastic tool to do that. And that is really the message that we need to get through. So that was one of the key areas that we really focused on and talked to ministers about. And of course, the policy forum that we do is just one moment in time to help that messaging. And of course, we're constantly having to re-educate politicians as they come through. But one of the other things we try to do through that is share knowledge so that it's easier in destination to have the tools to explain to ministers, to explain to policymakers as they change, which they regularly do, what our industry is about and where it sits. Because I think that the other thing that we're really talking about is how our industry can sit within business development, inward investment, rather than tourism. And I think if we can do that and prove our case for that, we'll kind of change the narrative over time.
Totally. I think in Ukraine, like people do not understand like the full picture. So we are trying to educate like the city and somehow the country, but still there's a lot of work to do. But first we need to win the war.
Yes, absolutely. But those challenges that you're facing now, and I guess faced before the war, unfortunately, those challenges are really seen right across the world. And I think without the data to prove why we sit within economic development versus tourism, you know, we drive tourism, but we're not a tourist industry. So that difference, we need to get our narrative right about that and have the data to back that up. I think that's really where we are as an industry at the moment.
Yeah, we will join, like we are joining now, and we will prove that here as well. Together with the Lviv Convention Bureau team, we try to be on our stand at IMEX all the time and to tell people how they can help Ukraine, to show the real situation in Ukraine and in Lviv in particular. But we're trying to use this opportunity and to visit educational sessions where speakers share all the challenges that are going on and which will be in the near future in the mice industry. Many of them from time to time repeated that they have problems with the staff after COVID-19, and there's a lack of professionals, and we see it within all the industry. Moreover, they also mentioned the problem of age generation. The industry is getting older, and the young generation has to be also welcomed to the industry. At IMEX, you have the Future Leader Forum that gives a chance to get good contacts and became the part of the community. So actually, one of the satellite events, so I became the member of MPI, so it was a surprise, but still that's another way, right? Connecting people and engaging. And why, in your opinion, should young people choose our industry? What advantages can you tell them?
Yeah, I think, I mean, all of that is very true. And, you know, we run those Future Leader Forums at IMEX. We also run them at partner events. So we have a wonderful one that takes place in Poland. And actually, we just had one around cacao, which was in Colombia last week. 200 students took part in that from Colombia. So those types of events, I think, are very important to explain to young people the different facets of the industry and the career opportunity to have. I think our industry is an amazing opportunity for young people because there are so many parts to the industry. You can be in a governmental organization like a convention bureau. You can work for the city venue like a center or a hotel group. But also if you're an entrepreneur, there are multiple opportunities. If you look at DMCs, if you look at event organizers, so many entrepreneurs. So I guess what I would say to young people is that whatever skills they have, there's actually an opportunity to really utilize them in this industry and to build them. And our industry is exciting because it's such a global industry. Here we are, we know each other, you know people from all over the world, and there's something very special about an industry where you can connect with people from all over the world, but we're job to actually build those connections for other people as well and help them drive their knowledge, and their businesses. And so I think it's a great industry in terms of the purpose that you can have, but also the skills that you can develop. And the skills that we develop in our industry are very transferable skills as well. And so that's another good reason, I think, for young people to come into it, because they'll actually gain this sort of plethora of transferable skills that they'll be able to use in later life, whatever they do.
Mm-hmm. And what should be the first steps of the young professional who wants to join our industry? What certification would you recommend? What books to read or magazine to subscribe to? So give us some advice.
Obviously, it depends a little bit on the sector of the industry that they're interested in going to and where they're located as well. Certainly, if they were in the UK, I would tell them to become student members or young members of some of the trade associations like MPI, SITE, PCM as well, because those organise it through those memberships. They will be able to connect with senior people in the industry as well as peers. They'll be able to attend educational events, but they will get career opportunities as well. And they'll just learn so much about what the industry is about and find their right place within it. I've seen so many people take that route, find a career or their first job, and then pivot and find another person. Our industry is is a welcoming, open industry, and people love to see young people coming into it. So what I've always seen is people are welcomed with open arms when they go to those events, and they're put on stage, they're put on panels, and they're given these opportunities to really build themselves. So that's the other thing I would say to young people coming in. We want to learn from you as well. Be shy, but actually tell us what we're missing and give us the knowledge that we don't have, whether that's about digital, whether it's about social media, or whether it's just about the way, the future of work and what you want to see in the industry. In terms of magazines, all of those associations have great magazines. In the UK, we also have, magazines like M&IT and CNIT, and but the other thing I would say to young people is do all of that in the industry, but don't forget the big wider world as well. So whatever you're interested in, keep up that interest, whether it's subscribing to Harvard Business Review, if you're interested in sort of business skills, whether it, making sure that you're abreast of international news, make sure that you have that broad focus as well, so that you don't become too narrow, because that will stand you in good stead for whatever you do.
Yeah, that's great advice. Thank you, Karina. IMEX is famous for its position towards climate changing and supported different initiatives in sustainability. Year after year, you made new efforts in making the event more green. So what was new in this area in 2022?
Yes, so that's a really important subject for us. One of the big new things that we did this year was we brought our sustainability consultants who've been measuring our impact from a sustainability perspective at Imex America for the past decade. We brought them to Frankfurt. So for the first time this year, we will have comparative statistics on the sustainability credentials of Imex America versus Imex in Frankfurt. And also we really had a new focus on measuring our carbon impact as well. So we've signed up to the industry's net zero carbon pledge. And so what we're doing at the moment is benchmarking where we are so that we can build milestones to go towards net zero in the next long, aligned with that pledge. We also did lots of little things as well, new, as we always do, because the way we see it is, you have to build on what you did last year. So we've taken lots of small steps over 20 years really to build a program where, we have a zero waste show. We made sure that the carpet, we had a lot of questions about the carpet this year because we use a lot of carpet, but we've actually found a material that is made of recycled materials, and the carpet is itself fully recycled. So we've put a lot of work into that. A lot of our menus, we call them water-wise menus. So we work with the venues to choose products that use less water in their production. We had a lot more vegan options as well, which is obviously lower carbon. And then also we built out in Hall 9 our People and Planet Village, really seeing the importance of sustainability in events, but also showcasing to people how they can make their own events more sustainable as well. So we had a lot of what we really is show the questions to ask, the materials that you should be using, whether it's for signage, so that you eliminate it, whether menus, whether it's for carbon. So that was another new thing that we did. But I think the big thing for us will be our strategy to carbon neutrality.
Definitely. IMEX always tries to pay attention to the biggest world's problems. This year, you remembered your guests not to stay apart from human trafficking. So why did you choose this issue, and what was the story?
Yeah, we've actually supported an organisation called ECPAT, which campaigns against human trafficking. It's a US organisation. We've sponsored them for a number of years, and we did again this year. I think, for us, it's such an important issue because we, as individuals, we travel the world, and we know that it's important for us all to recognise the signs, to be educated on that. So we've put our team through some of ECPAT's training, so that if we ever find ourselves in the position of recognising those signs, whether it's in a hotel, an airport, etc., we know what to do about that. And there are apps that can be used, like the CAM app. So all these little things that we can do as individuals will help people who find themselves in these awful situations. So I think it's the kind of issue that's never closed. It's something we need to continue to educate ourselves and each other about.
Yeah. And IMEX in Frankfurt showed that people are ready to meet, but COVID changed a lot of their habits. They changed, so they wanted something new. So what is the future of exhibitions, in your opinion?
Yeah, I think it's an interesting one. I think COVID both changed our habits, and also we have a great desire to get back to familiarity as well as work before. So I think any event or exhibition that delivers ROI and is of high importance to individuals and an industry and delivers on its objectives will continue to be successful in a face-to-face environment. I think what changed in terms of habits is that people have a of how to get basic information and transactional information and some content online. And so I think when you are delivering an in-person experience, be that an exhibition or any kind of event, you really need to focus on how you are making sure that people that come have a true, heartfelt, in a way, experience, because they're coming to truly connect with other individuals in that face-to-face environment. So you need to make sure that ment is very, very strong, because the other things that maybe we would have worried about before are not as important at the moment as that true face-to-face connection. So that's what really focused on, that sort of the experiences they provide. But ultimately, I think the future of exhibitions that do that are very positive. Exhibitions and all types of face-to-face events.
Hopefully we will have a chance, to save this face-to-face meetings, because it's really important when you feel the person, when you feel the atmosphere of the event, when you know who are you talking to. So that's really important.
Absolutely.
Yeah. In Ukraine, all exhibition centers right now function as the shelters for internally displaced people. The organizers of the exhibitions became volunteers and helped families who fled from war. Their business is on hold, but they believe in recovery and want to do their best. What can you tell them to cheer up? What can you suggest them to save their business?
Yeah, I mean, I guess, what can you say when people transform their businesses to help others in that way? It's very impactful. And, I think all the world of admiration for them. So I think in terms of what I can tell them to cheer them up, I mean, I don't know if it cheers them up, but all I would say is that I think there is a lot of admiration, and what they're doing is really important at this time. And so I guess it's always valuable for us to know that when we're transforming our lives in the way they are doing, that there's a true purpose to doing that. And I think everybody is grateful for them to do that. In terms of saving their business, I think I would just go back to what we discussed at the beginning, which is the fact that if there are professionals and businesses out there that have capacity now, I think there's a huge amount of demand for professionals. So I would put themselves out there and make sure that the world knows that they are open to taking on work. And I think that, as I say, the demand is there for experienced event professionals. I see it absolutely on my WhatsApp feeds, on my LinkedIn feeds, that people are looking for professionals in the business. So hopefully that can help. And then the other thing is just for those that don't have the capacity right now because they have become volunteers, they're doing things, just to, as much as they can, work with people like yourselves, the convention bureaus, to make sure that they are top of mind for when they do have capacity and when that business does come back, because it will come back. I have absolutely no doubt about that. What we do, bringing people together, is so important for so many things. As you said, it's the only way to build trust. It's the only way to truly motivate people. It's the only way to really drive inspiration and innovation, is bringing people together. So the face-to-face business isn't going anywhere. And so really, for those people who have pivoted right now to be volunteers and to help others, just to know that that's not forever as well, that there is a blue sky out there, but what they're doing is amazing and fantastic, and I think people will want to support them when this is over.
Thank you for this answer. It's really cheering.
Good.
Right now, the registration to IMEX America is open. We know that IMEX Group has won the Best International Show America at the AEO Excellence Award. So congratulations. So you've done an amazing job. What are you expecting from this show, like this year's, and what are you preparing?
Yeah, so we were, as you say, we were just really honoured, delighted to win that award. I said to the team, if there was one show we really wanted to win an award for, it was IMEX America last year, because so difficult in so many ways. Borders of the US only opened the Monday of the show, and so the plans that we redid and the changes were just constant. So it was a real challenge, that show. So we were enormously proud of it. Because successful, I think, the main thing we're expecting this year for IMEX America is just substantial growth in the number of exhibitors who are coming and all of buyers that are coming. What's fantastic, last year, we probably had about 1,000 or 1,500 international participants who waited right till that last minute, to get into the US, and it was fantastic to see them. But this year, of course, people can plan for a lot longer, and so to have the true international participants come back, whether that's exhibitors or buyers, is fantastic, including, of course, from Asia as well. Not the whole of Asia is open, China's still closed, but the rest of Asia is open, and we saw that in Frankfurt, that they were coming back, but even more so now for IMEX America. So I think that is, the main thing that we would do. Of course, we always look at everything that we're doing, from the sustainability to the charitable programs that we do within Las Vegas, but also our education program has been completely reimagined and rethought through and refocused, for the times that we're living in now. So we've just launched that, where we have The overall theme is Pathways to Clarity, with 4 key tracks within that, and focusing on everything from the future of work to sustainability and nature. So I think there's going to just be, that program itself is going to be really impactful. So those are just some of the tastes of some of the new things we're doing. And then, of course, all the things that people love about the show, like, the association events and the parties, and the awards. It's like the EIC Hall of Leaders, they'll all be as normal. So hopefully what we're going to do, people, a dose of new with a lot of the fun and familiarity that they love.
That's really, really nice. Wow. Almost an hour, and we had such a fruitful conversation, actually. So thank you, Karina, for that. It was really lovely to see you once again. And to have this chat. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for inviting me. And wish you and your colleagues all the best. And if there's anything that we can ever do for you, you know where we are.
Thank you, Karina. Thank you, everyone, for watching us. That's Karina Bauer. She's the CEO of IMEX Group, which supports Ukraine. So that's really, really great.